Okay, I know. I already dropped a theory about Leon Prater possibly being the New York Ripper, and trust me, I still think the guy's creep factor is high enough to keep that door open. But a recent conversation with my brother flipped the lights on in a very different hallway. He brought up something about new blood that got my gears turning again, and yeah, it's a little wild, maybe even a stretch, but hey, those are the best kind of theories, right? But before we go full tinfoil hat, do the usual YouTube dance. Like the video, drop a comment, smash the subscribe button like it's Dexter's emergency kill switch, and if you're feeling generous, or just like exclusive content and being awesome, hit up that channel membership. Alright, let's jump back into this dark little rabbit hole. So, let's talk Jonah Mitchell. Yes, that Jonah, son of Arthur Mitchell, aka the Trinity Killer, the kid who survived one of the most twisted legacies in Dexter's bloody portfolio. Last time we saw him, Dexter let him walk free in Nebraska, believing Jonah had grown a conscience and could rise above his homicidal lineage. And maybe he did. For a while. But what if he didn't? What if Jonah, like Harrison, tried to repress his darkness and failed? Now here's where things get tasty. In Dexter Resurrection, we learn that the New York Ripper uses a very specific weapon, the same kind Jonah once tried to kill Dexter with. That's not a coincidence. This isn't your average kitchen knife situation. That detail is surgical, intentional. It practically screams, "Hey, pay attention to this." Maybe Jonah never stopped fantasizing about that moment in Nebraska. Maybe, just maybe, he liked it. Thematically, it tracks too. Jonah becoming the New York Ripper would be a perfect mirror to Harrison's arc. Two sons raised in the bloody shadows of monstrous fathers, both traumatized, both conflicted, one trying to resist the darkness, the other giving into it completely. It's a twisted duality that practically writes itself. And you know Dexter loves a poetic cycle of pain. But here's the kicker. This could be how Leon Prater figures out who Dexter really is. Imagine the moment. Prater has met Red, or Dexter, at the dinner party, already suspecting something's off, and then, boom, Jonah Mitchell, now one of Prater's prized proteges, whispers something about Miami. About a man who once let him go. The puzzle pieces fall into place. Prater doesn't just find out who Dexter is, he's been waiting for him. And let's not forget that eerie detail from the coma sequence. Trinity, played once again by the inimitable John Lithgow, appears to Dexter while he's unconscious. It was jarring, and if you felt that moment had zero narrative purpose, think again. It may have been a deliberate breadcrumb. Trinity didn't come back to spook Dexter, he came back to remind us about Jonah. Plant the seed, foreshadow the reckoning. Now, I know some people will argue that Jonah's too young to be the Ripper based on Prater's cryptic quote, "A man who terrorized the same streets I played on as a child." But let's unpack that. Prater didn't say he was a kid at the time the Ripper was active. He said those were the same streets he played on. It's ambiguous, intentionally I'd argue. It allows for the Ripper to be active more recently without disrupting the timeline. And think about it, if Jonah has been lurking in NYC for years, slowly evolving into this legend, he's not just dangerous, he's Dexter level dangerous. Calculated, charismatic, a killer with a history and trauma baked into his DNA. He's not just some faceless villain, he's the tragic mirror image of everything Dexter tried to prevent in his own son. And if that's not poetic horror, I don't know what is. Which brings us to the chilling final twist. What if the next big showdown isn't between Dexter and Prater, or even Dexter and Harrison, but Dexter and Jonah? A man he once showed mercy, a man who turned that mercy into murder, a man who became the monster Dexter always feared Harrison might become. So what do you think? Is Jonah Mitchell secretly the New York Ripper hiding in plain sight behind a familiar name and a borrowed weapon, or am I just drinking too much Dark Passenger Kool-Aid? Drop your theories in the comments, and remember, in Dexter's world, no good deed goes unpunished.